In this video, I just want to talk about a particular subject that a lot of people deal with that is hard to talk about and can actually put a pretty bad mood on your day. It's this idea of imposter syndrome. So, imposter syndrome is the feeling that you are inadequate or you're not good, you're a fraud, and that someday you're going to be exposed as someone who doesn't know what they're doing. In web development, there's a lot of that. Most of us actually deal with a level of imposter syndrome almost every single day. And for me, I just want to share a little bit about me. I have been coding for 20 years, since 1999. And a lot of people would say, oh, you're a pro, you're an expert, you know everything there is to know. And that's not true at all. I still deal with imposter syndrome every single day. And sometimes it's not so bad, and sometimes it sucks. And it can really put a damper on your mood and your day and your productivity. And frankly, sometimes it just makes you feel really, really bad. But the thing behind imposter syndrome is it's not real. I'll talk more about that in a sec. But almost all of us, actually, will experience imposter syndrome at some point in our lives. Some of us, it will last for a very long time. For me, it has lasted a very, very long time. Other people only go through small periods of it. And that's okay. And it's okay to feel that way. Now, imposter syndrome is largely, I guess I would call it an irrational emotional response to a situation that our brain does not fully understand. So, as developers, we look at other people's code and we say, hey, that code or that person over there is really, really good at what they do. And I'm not. I'm struggling with some simple things, or I'm struggling to get an idea or a concept under my belt. And we see our own internal struggles, but we don't see everyone else's struggles. That's the thing. And so our brain builds this bias about what is real and what is not real. We see that everyone else just starts typing away and they're solving problems like it just comes to them naturally. But that's not true. We all go through struggles. It's taken me a very long time to become a very good developer. And there are other people out there who have been developing or coding for like 5, 6 years, and they're mentoring me. And I've been around way longer than they have. And sometimes that makes me feel inadequate. Makes me feel like I'm not good enough, that I could be significantly better. And other times, I'm just grateful that there is someone out there to mentor me, because I know that I haven't hit the ceiling, which is nice, because then I would have no place to go. But that there's also a supportive community out there to help you. And that's part of what this video is about. We all go through imposter syndrome, or almost all of us go through imposter syndrome. I know a couple people who haven't, they're very lucky, but almost all of us do, to some degree at some point in our lives. And so when you're feeling like you're a fraud, that you're not good enough, that everyone else picks up on things faster than you do, it's not necessarily true, it's just you don't see their struggles. Just like you haven't ever seen my struggles when I'm learning something. And likewise, I haven't seen a lot of your struggles when you're learning something either. And so it goes both ways. I see a lot of people picking up new languages very, very quickly, and I wonder, how? How are you learning so fast? And then there are other people who take their time, and I'm like, okay, this is more my pace. I get it. And then I'm sure it goes the other way too. Some people see that I can make videos on PHP or JavaScript or Python or really any programming language for the most part, and they think that I know it all. That's not true. It's taken me a long time to get here. And my point is, when you're learning something, when you're new at a job, you're likely going to feel some imposter syndrome, like you don't belong, that you're not good enough, that you're inadequate. I just want to let you know that's not true at all. Okay? First thing you do is attack it with logic. You say, why do I feel like an imposter? Because you had to Google something? I've been Googling code and code snippets and how to do things since Google was around. It doesn't make you an imposter. It just makes you curious. It makes you human. It makes you unable to remember every single thing that the internet could possibly give you. That's human. That's normal. That's beyond normal. That is anything that a regular person would do. That's what they do. I Google things all the time. You're going to Google things all the time. It's okay. I ask questions all the time to my mentors and in other groups. If you ask questions, that's okay too. Now, when it comes to being able to deal with imposter syndrome and sort of maybe not necessarily get rid of it, because I don't know how to get rid of imposter syndrome, but I do know how to live with it. First thing is, yep, attack it with logic. Realize that your situation is irrational and you don't know every single detail about what's going on. And then just hit it with logic. Like, I see someone learning React in a week. It took me longer than a week to learn React, or it took me longer than a week to learn JavaScript, and some people just pick it up just like that. And I say, okay, well, these people are really, really good. They're probably way better than me. I must be inadequate. I must be a fraud. I must not be very good at what I do. That's not the case at all. And so you hit it with logic and you say, you know what? I don't know what they went through. Maybe they drank a bunch of Red Bull, stayed up for 7 straight days, and just programmed stuff. And maybe they don't know every solution. Maybe they haven't run into real life problems. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on behind the scenes in other people's lives that we don't see, and that creates a lot of imposter syndrome. The other best way, actually, I would argue that this is the best way to fight imposter syndrome, is honestly just talk about it. I know it sounds scary, and even for me making this video is a little bit scary, but talking about imposter syndrome can really, really help. And you'll see that there are so many other people out there who have imposter syndrome that are also scared to talk about it, but it just takes one person to open that door and say, hey, this is a real thing that thousands, if not millions of us are going through on a daily basis. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you different. It doesn't make you a bad programmer. It doesn't make you a bad person at all. It's just an emotional response to a situation that your brain doesn't fully understand. And so by talking about it, and I'm hoping that we can open up some dialogue here, but by talking about it, I think this can help a lot of people understand that, hey, you're not alone. When you're struggling, guess what? A lot of other people are struggling too. Chances are, if you're struggling on learning something new or applying a new concept, chances are I'm also struggling that same day too, because it happens. And technology moves so fast, you can't possibly keep up with all of it. And so we're going to constantly run into new problems as web developers. So if at any point in time you are feeling a little bit down, you may be struggling, you feel like you're an imposter, you feel like you're a fraud, that you're not good enough, that someone's going to expose the truth that doesn't exist. If you ever feel that way, just leave a comment down below. We can open up a big discussion around this, a huge group discussion, and you can see that, hey, you know what? We're not alone. And for me, with my imposter syndrome, over the years, I found that this actually really, really helps. And sometimes it's not even having a conversation. It's just like when I mention something about imposter syndrome and someone clicks that like button or the heart button, it's like, oh, okay. Obviously other people liked this message. Other people felt this message. They understand what I'm going through, and maybe they don't want to say something, and that's okay. You don't have to say anything, but that little like or that heart that you send says that there are other people who are going through the same thing. But I would like to open up a dialogue, a little conversation. So if you are interested or you have the need for some support, some more, I guess, emotional support for the soft skills that web development never covers, yeah, just leave a comment down below and let's start a conversation about imposter syndrome.